Hello, YouTube followers. This is Curtis Williams again, Master Astrologer, Reiki Master, Alchemist, Shamanic Practitioner. I wear a lot of hats, and in this lifetime you can only become really good at one or two, but I try them all. As I promised in my previous videos, I want to go over the fundamentals of astrology, and then eventually get to the fun facts about alchemy, about shamanism, about Reiki, all tremendous modalities. But first, I think today what I'd like to go over is lend you some information that I found helpful to me and wish I had known it in the very beginning. But here it is. I think it's essentially important that each student finds a teacher. Now, I'm not looking for you to find me as your teacher, but find a teacher, someone who can mentor you along the way and help you learn the fundamentals of astrology, because there are too many people out there who are teaching the wrong set of rules. Astrology's been around for so long, and it's still getting mucked up by people and their own opinions. So, there are several institutes that I'd like to recommend that you can check in to see if you can become a student. Most of these programs have scholarships. One is NCGR, which is National Council for Geocosmic Research. They're really good people. There's Kepler College, another good one. I think they're all around the world. AFA, American Federation of Astrologers. I started with them a long time ago when I first started, but then I was guided to a different teaching, and that was with Noel Teal, and he's passed these last few years, so it's still available. So Google Noel Teal, and I think they still offer programs, and they're relatively reasonable. And then astrologers books, because the ones I'm going to give you, these cats are long gone, and that's Noel Teal, Noel, Noel Teal, Tyl, Dane Rudhyar, Dane, Rudhyar, Ruhdyaar, Mark Lewis. Let's see, who else do I have on? Jeff Green, tremendous astrologer. He has a daughter, I can't remember. I had her on my radio show some years ago back, and she's an evolutionary astrology, I think is their thing. And there's Stephen Arroyo, and there are plenty of others. But I'm not going to have your eyes glazed over because I'm giving you all these names, and that really may mean nothing to you. So I think in my previous video, I mentioned the term fluff astrology, fluff and fold astrology, and that is really something to stay away from. There are too many people who use astrology for when will my boyfriend break up with me? Should I do this or should I do that? Astrology is good for these things, but give it some merit. Give it some depth before you ask a question. Tarot, that's a good, those are the kinds of questions you want to find out about, try tarot. I'm a tarologist as well. And then there's the I Ching, depending how you want to pronounce it. These are all modalities that are very helpful in the things that you can do as a practitioner. But you have to pick one and then pick another and go on as you go. My experience has shown me that you cannot pick them all. I wish you could, but you can't. So choose and pick well. All right. So I want to go over the houses. I want to go over the rulerships, just the basic meanings. You may find it boring, but this is very important, and this is the order in which you go. First, you look at the wheel with the 12 houses. You cut it into halves. You have 4 halves. The top half, which some would call the northern, but it's actually the southern half, and below it is the northern half. And to your left is the eastern half, and to the right is your western half. Now, there are things, they have meanings, and I'm not getting into them now. I just want you to be aware of them if you're going to follow this. And then are the houses. These are the natural progression of the houses. And so they're always influential, but only to some degree if they're not directly involved. The first house always belongs to the sign of Aries, and the sign of Aries is ruled by Mars. So the first house always belongs to Aries. Mars is always involved. And rarely do people have the natural sequence of the astrological signs or rulerships, but it's important to remember them. The second house is Taurus. Taurus is ruled by Venus, and as you will find, there are two houses and 2 planets that rule 2 houses. The third house is Gemini. Some people call it Gemini, and it's ruled by Mercury. Okay, the fourth house, that is Cancer. The natural progression is Cancer, and it's ruled by the moon. Fifth house is ruled by the sun, and that's Leo. The sixth house is ruled by Virgo, and the planet is Mercury. There's that second house, that second planet, Mercury. The seventh house has to do with Libra. Now Libra is the other house, second house, and the other planet is Venus that rules the seventh house. The eighth house is Scorpio. It's ruled by Pluto. The ninth house is Sagittarius, and it's ruled by Jupiter. The eighth house, did I skip the eighth house? The eighth house is Scorpio, and Pluto rules it. The ninth house is Sagittarius. The 10th house is Capricorn, and the planet that rules Capricorn is Saturn. The 11th house is the natural sequence, Aquarius, which is ruled by Uranus, Uranus, or Uranus. You pick, you choose. I prefer Uranus. And then the 12th and final house is Pisces. Neptune rules that house, and there you come to your completion. Then, just briefly, I want to go over what the houses mean. There are a lot of descriptors towards the houses, but just give you some basics. The first house is about the physical body. All right, it's how you project yourself out into the outside world. The second house is about self-worth, your possessions, things that you are attracted to physically. The third house is about communication, siblings, short distance travel. It goes on and on. I'm giving you the ones that you should remember. The fourth house is the home. Literally, the home. From here on out, you're always going to have a home, whether it's a house or under a bridge. Not everyone's as fortunate as a lot of us, but home is where you lay your hat or hang your hat. All right, the fifth house is about creativity and children certainly are your creative energy. The sixth house is about work and service to others. It's also a health house, just as the first house is a health house, because the first house represents the physical body. Now, the seventh house deals with relationships, partnerships, marriage, your community. This is really important to remember. The eighth house is other people's things, other people's belongings. All right? For instance, somebody has a philosophy, a way of thinking. It's their thinking, but you may tend to adopt it. It's someone else's belief system. Now, the ninth house is your belief system. It's long distance travel, but primarily it's higher education, higher ideals. All right? And the 10th house is the outside world. Just like the 4th house, the polar opposite of the 10th, the 4th house is home. It's where you go get away from people. The 10th house is where you go to meet them. It's your career. It's authority. It's what you do out in the outside world. The 11th house is love received. The 5th house is love given. 11th house is love received. And it's other things, but you can include in the 11th house groups of people, friendships, that kind of thing. And the 12th house is the sense of undoing, hiding behind the scenes. Again, self-undoing. We all do that. Depends on if there's placements. It depends on there's planets. There's always a rulership, even if you don't have any planets in that house. And trust me, there will be plenty of charts without planets in houses. Sometimes you have 5 or 6 all grouped in one house, and then the very next house can have 3 and then 1 left over. So they're not always spread out, but every house has a ruler, a planetary ruler. All right. I'm gonna leave this as enough. This is enough. If you're interested, write me. Let me know questions you'd like to answer. But please keep in mind the questions that you ask should go in alignment with the direction that we've gone so far. We haven't gone very far at all. And if it's too advanced, I'll say it's too advanced and I'll move on. Otherwise, I hope that you do come back. I haven't checked to see how many have come back, if at all, but I will continue to do these videos. And I do promise you I will do shamanism, I will do Reiki, I will do alchemy, I'll do tarot, the I Ching, the I Ching. There are so many things out there that are really cool. I wish I'd had somebody to teach me about them. And if you are one of those people wishing, you do now have someone who can help you with them. But it'll take time and patience. All right. So have a good rest of the week. I'll try and get another video out this week. And if I don't, I'll try the following week. Good luck. Bye.